long ago, when the forests were so ancient that even the mountains could not remember their beginning, there stood a kingdom called Sundarvan. It was a prosperous kingdom. Clear streams ran between green hills. Mango trees bent under the weight of their fruit. Deer grazed without fear. Monkeys played among the branches, and flocks of bright birds filled the morning sky. At the center of Sundarvan grew an enormous banyan tree. Its roots entered the earth like the fingers of a giant, and its branches stretched so widely that 1,000 animals could rest beneath them. Hanging from its strongest branch was a great bronze bell. The bell had been placed there by the first ruler of Sundarvan. On the stone beneath it were carved these words: "When the smallest creature suffers injustice, let this bell speak for it." Any animal who believed it had been treated unfairly could pull the king would then leave his throne, sit beneath the banyan tree and listen. For many generations, the bell protected the weak. But as time passed, the kingdom changed. The new ruler was King Aranyak, a powerful lion with a golden mane and a voice that could make leaves tremble. When he first became king, Aranyak was brave and fair. He walked through the villages, spoke to farmers, and listened patiently to old animals. He punished thieves, protected travelers, and opened the royal grain stores during dry seasons. The animals loved him, but praise is a sweet fruit, and those who eat too much of it often forget the taste of truth. As the years passed, King Aranyak surrounded himself with ministers who praised everything he did. The chief minister was a jackal named Kutil. Kutil had sharp eyes, soft footsteps, and a tongue smoother than oil. Each morning he entered the royal cave and said, "Your Majesty, never has Sundarvan known such peace." If the king built a road, Kutil called it the greatest road in the world. If the king gave a speech, Kutil declared that even the clouds had stopped to listen. If an animal complained, Kutil whispered, "Only the ungrateful question a great king." Slowly, Aranyak stopped traveling through the kingdom. Why walk beneath the hot sun when ministers could bring reports? Why listen to tired farmers when musicians could sing of his glory? Why sit beneath an old banyan tree when he possessed a throne carved from sandalwood? The bronze bell remained, but the king rarely answered it. At first, the animals rang it only in serious matters. Then they noticed that no one came. The rope gathered dust. One summer, the rains failed, the river became thin, ponds turned to mud, grass dried beneath the sun, and the animals began saving every grain they could find. King Aranyak ordered the royal granary to be opened. "Every village shall receive enough food," he announced. The animals cheered. The king entrusted the work to Kutil. The jackal bowed deeply. "Your compassion is greater than the ocean, Majesty." But that night, Kutil called several of his friends, the hyena, the wild dog, and the crow. "There is profit inside that granary," he told them. Instead of distributing all the grain, they secretly carried half of it to a cave beyond the eastern hill. They planned to sell it later, when hunger had made every grain precious. The remaining food was divided among the villagers. The stronger animals pushed forward and received large sacks. The smaller animals received only handfuls. Among them was a family of field mice who lived near the dry riverbank. The mother mouse, Nira, had 5 young children. Her husband had been killed by an owl, and she gathered seeds alone from dawn until night. When she reached the distribution ground, the wild dog gave her 3 grains. "3 grains?" Nira asked. "My children have not eaten since yesterday." The wild dog showed his teeth. "Be grateful," he said. "The king has given you what you deserve." Nira looked towards the sacks being carried away by Kutil's companions. But there is enough grain," she said. The wild dog kicked dust towards her. "Leave before I give you nothing." Nira returned home with the 3 grains. She divided them among her 5 children. The youngest mouse pushed his tiny piece towards his mother. "You eat it, mother," he said. "You worked all day." Nira felt a pain deeper than hunger. That night, while her children slept, she walked towards the banyan tree. The moon was high when she reached the bell. The rope was far too thick for her small paws. She climbed onto a stone, wrapped the rope around her body, and pulled with all her strength. The bell moved slightly. No sound came. She pulled again. Her paws burned. The rope cut into her skin. At last, the bell produced a weak sound. Dong. The sound traveled through the silent forest. Nera waited. No one came. She pulled again. In the royal cave, King Aranyak heard the distant bell. He opened his eyes. "Someone is calling for justice," he said. Kutil, who slept near the entrance, quickly stood up. "It is probably a branch striking the bell in the wind, Majesty." "There is no wind tonight," said the king. Kutil smiled. "Then perhaps monkeys are playing with it. A great ruler should not lose sleep over every sound." The king listened for a moment. The bell did not ring again. Nera had collapsed beneath it from exhaustion. The next morning, an old tortoise named Dharam found her beside the rope. Dharam was the oldest creature in Sundarvan. Some said he had been alive when the bell was first hung. He gave Nera water and listened to her story. When she had finished, the tortoise looked at the silent bell. "A bell does not protect anyone merely because it exists," he said. "Justice is not metal. Justice is the one who answers." "What can a mouse do?" Nera asked. "When even a bell cannot awaken a king?" Dharam replied, "A small voice may fail to awaken power, but many small voices can awaken a kingdom." He asked Nera to return the following night. Then Dharam traveled slowly from village to village. He spoke to a squirrel whose winter nuts had been taken by the hyena. He spoke to a family of rabbits who had received an empty grain sack. He spoke to sparrows whose chicks were starving. He spoke to an old ox who had spent his life carrying stones for the royal roads, but had been pushed away from the food line because he was no longer strong. Everywhere, Dharam heard the same story. The king had promised grain, the ministers had delivered hunger. That night, the animals gathered beneath the banyan tree. There were mice, rabbits, squirrels, birds, frogs, and insects. None was powerful. None could fight a lion or defeat a jackal. Dharam told each creature to take hold of the bell rope. "There is not enough room," said a rabbit. "Then hold the one in front of you," replied the tortoise. The mice held the rope. The squirrels held the mice. The rabbits held the squirrels. The monkeys formed a chain behind them, and the birds pulled from above. "Now," said Dharam, "do not pull as mice, birds, or rabbits. Pull as Sundarvan, together." They pulled the bell. The sound rolled across the hills. It shook birds from their sleep and echoed inside every cave. King Aranyak rose from his throne. Kutil hurried towards him. "Majesty, rebels are creating disorder. Give me permission to send the royal guards." But the king remembered the words carved beneath the bell. "When the smallest creature suffers injustice, let this bell speak for it." He pushed past the jackal and walked towards the banyan tree. When Aranyak arrived, he saw hundreds of hungry animals holding the rope. At the front stood Nera. The king looked at the tiny mouse. "Did you ring the bell?" "I tried, Majesty," she answered. "But alone I was too weak." King Aranyak saw the wounds on her paws. "Why did you call for justice?" "My children are hungry." The royal granary was opened. "It was opened," Nera replied, "but the food did not reach those who needed it." Kutil stepped forward. "Majesty, do not listen to her. Hunger makes creatures imagine many things." Dharam raised his head. "Then let us not depend upon imagination. Let us depend upon evidence." The tortoise pointed towards a line of ants. During the day, the ants had discovered grains scattered along the eastern road. They had followed the trail beyond the hill, where they found the hidden cave. The ants now marched beneath the banyan tree, each carrying one grain. Behind them flew a group of parrots. They had seen Kutil's companions moving sacks at night. The old ox had found royal markings on the empty sacks near the eastern cave. Kutil's smile disappeared. King Aranyak ordered the guards to search the cave. They soon returned with hundreds of stolen sacks. The crowd gasped. The lion looked at Kutil. "You stole food from hungry families." The jackal fell to the ground. "Majesty, forgive me. I was misled by greed." "No," said the king. "Greed may whisper, but you chose to obey it." He stripped Kutil and his companions of their positions. They were ordered to work until every stolen grain had been returned and every hungry family had been fed. The animals began to celebrate, but Nera remained silent. King Aranyak noticed her. "Are you not satisfied?" he asked. The mouse bowed. "The grain has been found, Majesty, but the greater danger has not." "What greater danger?" Nera looked towards the bell. "A thief can empty a granary only once. King who stops listening can allow 1,000 granaries to be emptied." The forest became silent. No minister had ever spoken to Aranyak in that manner. The royal guards waited for him to roar. Instead, The king lowered his head. He remembered the early years of his rule, when he had walked among the animals. He remembered believing that a ruler's duty was to hear the truth, especially when the truth was uncomfortable. He looked at Durham. "How did I become so blind?" The tortoise replied, "No one closed your eyes, Majesty. They merely placed so many mirrors around you that you could see nothing but yourself." The king remained beneath the banyan tree for a long time. Then he ordered his sandalwood throne to be removed from the royal cave and placed beneath the bell. "From this day," he announced, "I will sit here once every 7 days. Any creature may speak. No minister will silence it. No guard will frighten it." He also created a council in which large and small animals would both have a voice. The royal grain stores would be counted publicly, and no single minister would control them. But the king made one final decision. He asked that the thick bell rope be replaced with many smaller ropes reaching towards the ground. "Why so many?" asked a monkey. King Aragnac looked at Nera. "Because justice should not require the weak to become strong before they can reach it." The rains returned several weeks later. The river filled, the grass grew, and hunger slowly left Sundarvan. Years passed, and the kingdom became prosperous again. But the animals never forgot the summer of the silent bell. Whenever a new ruler came to the throne, the elders brought that ruler beneath the banyan tree and told the story of Nera, Durham, and the stolen grain. They ended the tale with these words: "A kingdom does not become just because it owns a bell. It becomes just when the powerful are willing to answer it." Moral of this story is, the greatest failure of power is not making a mistake, but refusing to hear those who suffer because of it. And the greatest strength of the weak is not anger alone, but unity, evidence, and the courage to speak the truth. Hit that like and subscribe button if you loved this story.